Want to really talk today about the spiritualism, and I call it the insider's view of what I feel like spiritualism is. And let me just talk a little bit about spiritualism before I get really started into this vibration on spiritualism. Spiritualism is a religion of connecting to the infinite power, the infinite source, the infinite vibration of source. That is what the religion's for, is to connect to past loved ones who, of course, we don't believe that there is a hell. We only believe that there is a spirit world, and where you arrive in the spirit world is up to you. It's up to the vibration of where you place yourself. We believe that their communication with the so-called dead is a fact. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the 9 principles real quick. Can I tell you what because this is what we read at every service, every connection when we have a spiritual service. We read the 9 principles and try to get you to kind of put those in motion within your life. We believe in infinite intelligence. That is the first one. We believe that God is in everything. That is that first one. Well, infinite intelligence is God. We believe that the phenomena of nature, both physical and spiritual, are the expression of infinite intelligence. We believe that everything is an expression of God. As spiritualists, we believe that everything is an expression of God. We affirm that the correct understanding of such expression and living in accordance therewith constitute true religion. We believe that once you point your vibration in the right direction, living in accordance with the essence of God and allowing God to be within you and connected to you, because the National Spiritualist Association says a correct understanding of the laws of nature are on the physical, mental, and spiritual planes of life, and living in accordance therewith will unfold the highest aspirations and attributes of the soul, which is the correct function of true religion. That's what National said that it is. So, but it is that connection to your higher self, your vibration within your being. Now we go to number 4, and that is affirm that the essence and personal identity of the individual continue after the change called death. As spiritualists, connecting to the spirit world, we truly believe that we connect to spirit. And that's been proved through science. It's been proved through test mediums, people that are communicating with the spirit world. It has been proven on and over again that there is communication going on between a medium and the spirit world. So we believe that we have that communication with the spirit world. We affirm that communication with the so-called dead is a fact, scientifically proven phenomenon of spiritualism. Spiritualism is pretty much the only religion that actually speaks to people that have gone to the spirit world. We are connected as mediums, and we raise our vibration. We connect to a higher sense. Not everybody can be a medium, but everybody can speak to spirit. Being a medium, it takes work. It takes that connection, that work at that connection, that bridge of building the way over to the spirit world. So I'll get a lot more into this vibration. We affirm, we believe that the highest morality is contained in the golden rule. Whatsoever you would that others should do unto you, do ye also unto them. The golden rule is in some form, some fashion, some connection through every single religion. So it's whether it's Christianity, whether it's Buddhism, whatever religion you're looking at, the golden rule is somewhere within that religion, and we have it here as one of our principles. We affirm that moral responsibility of the individual and that he makes his own happiness or unhappiness, that he obeys or disobeys nature's physical and spiritual laws. We affirm that you make your own happiness, you make your own contentment, your own vibration in your life is how you propel your life, and living in accordance therewith through the natural laws and the law of the spiritual laws, your life moves through into a nice connection within your life. And I'll get within that. We affirm the doorway to reformation is never closed against any human soul here hereafter. See, we don't believe that you are just a really bad person and you're going straight to hell. We believe that you move to the spirit world. Where in the spirit world, it's going to be up to you, is where your level and where your consciousness is going to reside. We affirm that the precepts of prophecy and healing contained in the Bible are divine attributes proven through mediumship. Mediumship, connecting to the spirit world. I want to talk about doorway to number 8. Number 8 signifies we discard entirely terrible, wrong, and illogical teachings of eternal damnation, and therefore we accept the present for the consideration of thinking people thought of the continuity of life beyond the change called death. See, as a spiritualist, I was raised in spiritualism my whole life. I was raised in that vibration, raised in that connection of spiritualism, and I was told that I should connect to spirit. I should work with spirit. I should connect with them in my life. So I always had the gifts as a child, but my mother encouraged me to speak to them, because they were always there. They were always in the room with me, always connected to me. So I was always that connection, that communication with spirit. So there was nothing in my life to talk to spirit and talk to somebody that was living. It never really changed for me speaking to them or speaking to you. So I always had that strong connection, and through spiritualism, I had that vibration of connecting. I noticed that when I went with a friend of mine to a Pentecostal church one time, and they were speaking in tongues, and I could see the Spirit working or overshadowing the individual and speaking through them. And I said, these people can speak to Spirit too. They just don't know that they are speaking through a spirit or a vibration of spirit. They think that God has enforced and threw the energy down through them. There was a spirit overshadowing them as I was standing there, and that just intrigued me when I had gone to that church and saw people overshadowing people and speaking through them. So when I work with spirit, when I work with a connection of spirit or work with a connection, I have to work at it. And with mediumship, even spirituality, spiritualism, whatever religion you're in, whatever religion you're a part of, it is a process. It's a work. And whether we have a job somewhere and we're doing a job and we're connecting to a job, if we really love the job, we propel in the job, we excel. Same thing with religions. If religion is making you extremely happy and content, then you're going to excel. Whether on a physical connection in your life, more on a spiritual connection, you are going to excel in a higher vibration, a higher connection of spirit. So you have to ask yourself, do I like where I'm at? That's what you have to ask your spirits. You have to ask your higher self, guides, protectors, loved ones, whoever is following you. Ask them and tell them, are you working with me? I explain to people, you always have to ask your guides, is there something I missed, something I should have seen, something I should have put in motion? Please show it to me. Because this way it keeps our guides propelling things in front of us. Some things we might not like, sometimes we do, but they're always propelling things in front of our vibration to get our attention, trying to get our attention. So we have to look at what they're trying to propel towards us. What are they doing? And these are things that are happening in our lives. The spiritualism, we believe that God and spirit is in everything. The infinite source, the infinite vibration. So if God is in everything, information can come from everywhere. So if you walk out your house and you see butterflies, and you see them again, and you see them again, but your mother loved butterflies, it's a very good possibility your mother's trying to get in contact with you or trying to let you know that she's okay. The vibration here is always understanding how you work with vibrations. In spiritualism, I was raised in this for most of my life. Sure, I've been in other religions, other connections, other spiritual modalities, but I've always come back to spiritualism because I find that I'm more comfortable here. I'm more comfortable in this religion. It just radiates with me. It just connects to me. I don't have to hide myself. I don't have to hide things that Spirit says to me, or me speaking to Spirit and having to hide that from people seeing it. And if I was going to another church, I couldn't tell them that I talk to people that are in the spirit world. It's not going to work. They're probably not going to allow me to spend too much time inside the church. But here it is more of a comforting situation. And religion is more on a self, spiritualism is more on a self vibration. And individuals can talk about spiritualism and or this and be very structured with it. But I believe spiritualism is on your own journey. Your vibration, your journey. So if you have this strong connection in your life, this strong vibration within your life, you have to ask yourself, is Spirit working with me? Is Spirit connecting to me? That's what you ask yourself. You discern the spirits. You connect to them. But through this religion, I've found that it gives me balance. It connects me to a higher sense of consciousness. I am no different than anybody else. Everybody can connect to Spirit. It's how much work you want to put into it. How much you want to connect to your higher self, your higher vibration. I truly believe that my father, my relatives, my people that have passed the Spirit are there speaking to me, or are there talking to me, or walking with me, helping me when they can, or when they need to. I love it when people ask me, said, well, why isn't this person here? And I ask people, says, can that person take care of the situations in your life that you have going on in your life at this moment? They go, no. I said, then why would you want them here? You might want to talk to them, but they can't come here to help you. They send people, advanced relatives, guides, people in your life to get you down the motion. And through mediumship, through meditation, through connecting to Spirit, I was always told, be quiet, listen, be patient. So when I was quiet and listening and being patient in my life, through mediumship, I always wanted to understand how mediumship worked. And spiritualism, that insider view of spiritualism, I had some massive teachers in my life to teach me, to instruct upon me what I needed to do, how I needed to communicate with Spirit. And that was started at about 4. I was seeing Spirit before that, but 4, getting towards 5 years old, I had a more understanding that I needed to work with them. Sure, I was seeing them. I was having some kind of connection to them. But at 3, 4 years old, not really a true understanding of why they were there. But when I got closer to 5, I remember getting closer to going to school, going to my first grade class. And my mother would sit me down, and she sat me down very quietly and said, other children at the school, Lou, are not going to see what you see. So try not to go too far out there and explain to them what you see, because they are not going to understand that you see that. So try to kind of talk to me about it, she said, but don't try to tell everyone in the world what you see. And as a child, I didn't have to hide it. I didn't have to hide it, but I had people in my life, my grandmother, my mother, different people in my life that encouraged it, that encouraged me to speak to Spirit, to work with Spirit. But when we had certain people in the home, people from my father's church, certain people in the home, I wasn't allowed to tell people what I did, or what I heard, or what I experienced. They would not understand. And that went through most of my life, but through my life, being out here in Casadega, but being other places in my life, I had some very extremely powerful mediums and healers and people working with Spirit. And a lot of spiritualist leaders, now that a lot of them are already past the Spirit, but they're very strong spiritual leaders that were there to guide me, to direct me, because they had been working in the field 40, 50 years. And they took me under their wing and said, Lewis, you should do this. You should practice this. You should do this. And what I did was I started learning from these people. I started putting that in vibration. And as I got older, in my 20s, trance, channeling, trance came. I did Charles for a while, but now I have Lucerne. And Lucerne teaches me. He gives me stuff. He teaches me. He instructs. He downloads, as you might say, downloads into my system. And I have knowledge. I have knowledge of things I didn't know before. I have knowledge how to do things, how to put things in motion, how to connect to things. So I really kind of, when I get a chance to do Lucerne, it really kind of excites me because I really never know what Lucerne is going to teach me while I do that connection to others, allowing Lucerne to speak to others, but allowing myself to go somewhere else and have stuff downloaded into my system. So when I come back into where I need to be after Lucerne is finished, I've learned something. I've got something within my vibration that I didn't know before, or I see something I haven't seen before. When I was 4, I'm going to go through some stuff. I was 4 years old. I had gone to a seance with my mother, and I had always seen spirit. I had always connected to spirit. I always had this strong connection to spirit. But nobody saw what I saw. Nobody really saw people. They didn't see them. They saw people in their mind's eye. Never saw people outside their body. So we were in this seance, and my mother's, the gentleman, I remember it to the day, the gentleman in the front of the room said, well, we don't really allow children to be in here. And my mother had a conference with him and says, my son can see spirit. He sees spirit constantly. He will be a good battery for us as we try to attract this little girl, to come in and speak to us. And the guy, after a few moments, he said I could stay, but I would have to sit in the very back of the room. And that's right, my mother sat me down in a little chair and said, you sit here, don't move, because we're going into a dark seance. Don't move, just sit in the chair and watch. And I did. And when the seance started, everybody started praying, and they did a nice prayer, and the music started playing, and stuff. And then you could hear music and voices coming from in the room, of direct voice, where voices were coming out of the walls, and I could hear those, and people in the room heard them too. So I was getting a little excited because other people were hearing what I was hearing. But then, in the middle of the seance, this little girl dropped out of the ceiling. And if you've ever been at a seance where a spirit actually arrives, they're almost like translucent. You can see almost through them. And this little girl dropped down right in the middle of the adults. Boy, were the adults excited that she was there. But she didn't stop there. She walked through the back of the room, didn't say a word to the adults, walked back, took my hand, and said, good morning, Lou. We're glad you're here. And she dissipated. Boy, the people want to know what she told me, what she said, why did she come back to talk to me? And I had explained to them she didn't say too much. She just said, good morning, Lou. We're glad to see you're here. And that started my journey, because through that, I knew that other people could see spirit. The other people could see them, see what I saw. And I would go to seances. I would go to different things and have apports. And apports are where spirit drops things into the room. They drop like stones. They drop things into the room, and spirit will manifest things within the space, within the sacred space. And I would attend a lot of these seances. Sure, I attended some that were not too good, but a lot of them were, spirit would be able to manifest in spite of the medium there. They wanted to manifest. They wanted to be there. When my father passed away and I had his wedding ring cremated with him, and through a trumpet seance, weeks after I'd already had it cremated, the trumpet floated around the room. And a trumpet is a spirit voice. Like spirit builds a voice at the end of the trumpet. It builds a voice. And the trumpet, I got a large one, large trumpet. But the trumpet, they build a voice off the end of it. They build a voice box and talk through it. And you can hear the voice coming out of here. And through this seance, this trumpet floated around the room. It floated around the room. And it came to me. And I could hear my father's voice coming out the end of the trumpet say, "Put your hand out." And I did. And when I did, his wedding ring fell out into my hand. Now, it had his initials on it. So I knew it belonged to my father, but I had had it cremated. But my father said, "You didn't need to send that with me." That's his voice. And the wedding ring fell out of my hand. Through that, I've had some extraordinary things. I've had pieces of jewelry drop out that are actually from Egypt. I've got sitting on my table over here. Had coins, older coins dropped in the room. I've had money. I've had all kinds of stuff through seances and things that I've attended, and I've actually put on a spirit apporting things into space. So I never lost it just encouraged me, because I would have people in my family saying, "Well, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't mess with the spirits." But the spirits never really did anything to me. They always spoke to me. They had conversations with me. They had conversations with me. So I learned about spiritualism, and I learned about the nine principles. I try to put those in effect in my life. There's a spiritualist prayer. There's definitions. There's different things. But spiritualism is a very easy religion, because, most of all, what spiritualism does is allows you to be you. It allows you to believe the way you believe. If you're raised a Catholic and you decide later in your life you're going to be a spiritualist, well, you're not going to give up on your Catholic roots. You won't do that. You'll still have part of that in vibration and intertwined in your vibration through your spiritualism. Whether you're Protestant, whether you're Methodist, whether you're Baptist, whether you're Buddhism, it doesn't matter. You're going to bring some of that into the religion with you. So don't get discouraged if you say, "Oh, no, you're just going to be a spiritualist." No one's ever just a spiritualist. We bring other stuff with us. Other small bags, large bags, doesn't matter. We bring it with us, and we allow it to arrive in our vibration. But we keep it because it makes us comfortable. It's the religion of our parents. It's where our parents worshipped. My mother was spiritualist. My father was down in the heart Southern Baptist. I still carry a little bit of Southern Baptist with me because I know what the Bible says. I know how to connect to the Bible and the vibrations with that. I understand where my father was coming from, but it's what he needed. It's what he needed in his life when he was here. I still have parts of that I like. I like parts of that. But we take our religions, whether it's spiritualism, Catholic, doesn't matter, and we take pieces of it, and we envision ourselves of what we would like ourselves to be. So parts of the religion follow us. Not the full-fledged. You're not going to dump everything in the middle of the corner, dump out your bag, and just put spiritualism in there. You're going to bring the other stuff with you that means something to you, that connects to you, that makes you feel better about yourself. So don't get so excited that if you still believe that you need to be born again, that could come right into the vibration with you as a spiritualist. Sure, you'll talk to the spirits, but you know that you're going to tread water with the guides. The question here is allowing yourself to believe in yourself. And maybe that's why I'm doing that talk today. I have too many people that get into spiritualism and they get really, it's a straight edge for them. It's like right down, very structured, very set, very structured. But it can't be. Because a religion can't survive that way. It can't survive if you make it too structured. Even with mediumship and connecting to spirit, a lot of individuals would like to keep it very structured. We're mental mediums. We don't need tools. Leave the tools alone. But I always have the connection that everybody is going to communicate with spirit differently. I was here to my house when I was a kid. We had a wall phone on the wall. It hung on the wall, a black phone. You had to dial. You had to roll the numbers and dial it. And my mother had this princess phone in her room, this old princess gold phone in her room. And we had another kind of phone, weird looking little phone in our room. But we all had different phones in different parts of the house. Everybody has got their own personal phone. It could be a little weird phone, that how they're connecting to spirit, but it's the way that works the best for them. Works best for them. It works that connection for them. Same thing with me. It's how I connect to spirit. Might not be exactly how everyone else connects to spirit. And I can't teach you. You've got to follow that road. That is the road you need to follow. And because you will get discouraged. People get discouraged in mediumship. They get discouraged. They leave it. Most people are not going to do professional readings. You're not going to go out and read. You're not going to go out and professionally do readings and give people readings and have sittings. Most people want to know about themselves, their higher self, their past lives, incarnations. They want to speak to their loved ones. They want to have that personal connection to God. That's what mediumship gives you. You have to go out and give readings. You have to do all this, but it gives you that personal relationship with your higher self and God. So we allow ourselves to come to that connection. But read all the books that you can read. Find things that radiate to you. I don't care if somebody tells you, oh my God, you shouldn't read that. That's not good for you. That'd be the first book I'd read. Because I would want to know if it was good for me or not. Maybe it wasn't good for them, but it could be perfect for me. Same thing with religions. I went through a lot of religions when I was younger, trying to find where I kind of fit, because everybody kept telling me I shouldn't be a spiritualist because it was against God. So I went in search of other religions, in search of them. I never found one that actually enriched me, except for spiritualism. It allows me to be me, a connection to me. Me. Because I used to travel with my father to big tent events, revivals, they would call them back in the day, back in the 60s, tent revivals. And my father would hold me outside in the car before we'd go in. He said, don't you tell anybody that you see dead people. Don't you do it. You're not going to do it here. You can do it with your mother, but you're not going to do it here with me. And I would have to be really quiet when I was speaking, when I was in with my father in these churches. Because I couldn't actually tell people you had somebody with you. That was against the rule of my father. I had to follow the rules with him because he didn't want to look like his son was flying off the edge. Because it was this connection. But I respected the religion. I respected to where my father was because that is what was needed. But over all the years of being in spiritualism and being connected to spiritualism, I've been near a lot of people as moving into a lot of people's lives when they were passing to spirit. Everybody passes to spirit in a different modality, a different vibration within our life. And we all travel in that different direction. It's our thoughts, our vibration, our knowledge, our connection into spirit world. So when we close our eyes here, we leave this world, we venture to the other side. It's what we believe. That's why the 9 principles. We believe that the doorway to reformation is never closed against any human soul here or hereafter. If we didn't believe that, we believe that we would just, oh my God, I've got all this bad stuff, bad situations in my life. And it's not. It's not the vibration. Sometimes we've done things in this lifetime that we feel extremely bad about. But we have to realize at the end of our lives, it's where we envision ourselves. Where we're going to be for a little while. We're going to be there for a little while. So envision well. Don't just envision yourself, oh my God, it's going to be awful, it's going to be terrible. Well, you get to the other side, probably a little awful, a little terrible, because that is where you've placed yourself. When I had a lady pass to spirit, she was telling me that she did so many bad things in her life, and she was going to go to heaven, and I was trying to explain to her that she was going to go to the spirit world, but where she was going to arrive in the spirit world, that is where she would be. And I said, you will have guides and people and situations in your life to help you and to guide you and to help you through this vibration. I still truly believe in our lives. We have a lot of situations in our lives, but they're never really the truly life lesson for us. We were collateral damage. We were going past something, helping, encouraging, and blessing a group energy. Sure, the things might not have worked out well for us. It might not have been well for us at all. But we were here to affect the group energy. That's always our journey in this lifetime, was to affect the group. Maybe not just to affect us. And we harbor situations in our lives, through our lives, of something that was really bad. And we go through our lives, and it just eats at us. It just destroys us. And then we eventually pass to spirit. When we should not, we should have just let it go. People go through divorce. They go through death in the family. They go through situations in their lives. And they have to realize that at some point, they have to let it go. And that's through either through meditation, connection to others, connecting to a higher sense of consciousness. You have to allow yourself to let it go. Let it be. Don't sit and tell yourself, oh, I've got to go through this. This is my cross to bear. Spiritualism, we believe that you're dealing with the infinite source, the divine energy is in everything. In the chair I sit, in the room I'm in the parking lot outside my home, everything around me is connected to the higher sense of consciousness. And I have to see that. I'm teaching a class tomorrow night on mediumship. And I teach people, when you walk, when you go out for a walk or you're walking, think of your life 10,000 times in your life you've made that walk. This is not the first time you've walked. It's not the first time you've made a journey. At some point, some connection in your life, you've done it before. You'll do it again, you'll do it again, and you'll do it again. But there's that walk, that vibration. And sometimes we get into a step in our lives, in whatever religion we are, we follow a pattern in our lives. We never look to see what's actually going on. We just follow the same pattern day after day after day. So when you take the walk in your life, when you're walking, are you paying attention? That's all. What are people offering you? What are your guides offering you? What is Spirit offering you? What is your higher self offering you? You have to ask yourself that. And I can only tell you that if your life isn't working really well, ask your guides, why not? Ask them. Have them speak to you. Have them talk to you. Have them propel things within your life. You have to be responsible. That's your personal responsibility. That's in our 9 principles. You have to be personally responsible for yourself. If you beat yourself up and make yourself sick, then it wasn't your guides that made you sick. It wasn't Spirit that made you sick. It was yourself. If you don't have any money in your life and you're destitute, you don't have any money in your life, then you need to make sure your guides know what you need, what you can accept within your life. I explain to people when I do readings, I always tell them, never ask for things in your life that you can't accept. Don't ask for 50 million if you can't accept 50 million. Don't ask for perfect health if you don't believe yourself healthy. Don't ask for situations in your life that that you can't personally accept in your life. Allow yourself to truly ask yourself, what do you need? The best thing to do for that is to sit quiet. Quietly ask yourself a question. I would like this. What does your inner voice tell you right after you ask for it? Is it a positive voice? Is it a negative voice? Is it a voice that says you're not going to get it? What voice do you hear? That is the voice you have to quiet. As spiritualism, we learn to quiet that. We learn to sit in the quiet, sit in meditation, sit in the quiet. Doing mediumship, we have to clear ourselves to become that clear channel for Spirit to work through us. Can't be all cluttered because Spirit will never be able to work through us. We have to be that clear channel for Spirit to work into our vibration. So allowing yourself to understand clear channel, clear vibration, clear organization within your life. If you want help, ask yourself for that. We have a strong healing prayer. We ask the Great Unseen Healing Force to remove all obstructions from our mind and body and to restore me to perfect health. I ask this in all sincerity and honesty, and I will do my part. We have to ask ourselves, are we doing everything in our honesty, a true being within our lives, to accept the health? Cutest thing I had one time, I was doing healing on a lady. I was touching the back part of her shoulders, and I was doing healing. And within a couple of minutes, she jumped out of my chair. And she looked at me and says, what are you doing? And I said, I'm just putting energy into your back. She said, well, my chest is burning. I said, well, it's probably Spirit is sending you healing, dear. And she took, without missing a beat, said, I've got emphysema. God cannot cure emphysema. Probably not going to get healed. See, if we believe that we can't get past it, then we will start that journey, that vibration. If you smell diesel fuel and you smell cookies, it means they've started the bus. Grandma's cooked the cookies, and they're coming to get you. We have to realize that if we allow ourselves to believe, whether you're, I don't care if you're sick, believe yourself healthy. Connect to a higher sense of consciousness. And then you might say, well, Louis, I don't know how that's going to work. It works in two ways. Spirit will either drop the health into your vibration, and you will get extremely healthy, or they will direct people, souls on the earth plane. Waysayers, I call them scouts, will find your path, and they will drop things in your path to help you to make the journey. It's when we lose sight of that. Spirit will drop things in your path, so you will not lose the vibration. They will drop things, but most of us just get we're too focused. We don't look up. We don't look around. We stay focused to the path. We follow the same path year after year after year, instead of looking up to see what's on the path. What has changed? Change is evident. Whether in this religion is a lot different when I was a kid. Religion is growing. It is growing a lot different. It's not the same spiritualism that the Fox sisters founded back in the 1800s. It's not. It has to change. The religion has to change. It has to grow. It has to evolve into where it needs to be. Because when I sat at these beds, and I remember when I sat here working with these people that have passed to Spirit, I've had people pull through the wall. Hands would just come through, pull the Spirit through the wall, person will pass to Spirit, and they'd be gone. But there'd just be a hand. There would not be a person here, just a hand would come through the wall, grab their Spirit, and pull them out the top of their head, and they'd be gone. A lot of the times in the vibration, I've sat in front of beds, And there are three men that come dressed in black. And they've got these black books with circles and little stars and little moons on them, and they're all done in gold embroidery. And they'll sit and read from the books. They'll sit and read from the book. And then three of them would come in and they'll read from this book. And when I see the three men, I know that the person's getting ready to pass. I know they're getting ready to go. Then probably in about 35, 45 minutes, two of them will leave. One will stay until the person's ready to go. And you'll walk in the room, and that one person, that one spirit will still be sitting there. Sitting there. Getting ready to take them. So that was out of quite a few people that I've sat with. Those three people have shown up. So I don't know if that's a special journey or something going on with it, because they won't explain to me what it is. All I know is they read from these books, two leave, one stays, and they continue to read out of this book until the person takes their last breath, and that person walks out of the room with them. I've had people walk down a path, walk into water. I had a Baptist minister, and I talked to him as a spiritualist about the spiritual world. He goes, no, young man, no, young man. Jesus is coming for me. Jesus will cross the crystal sea and will pull me home. Okay. So I touched down with him when he was getting ready to go. I held his hand, and I went where he was. And he was standing next to this crystal sea. And I could envision him in my head, and he was saying, see? Crystal sea. You see the boat? It's Jesus. He's coming for me. Really? And I thought there for a minute. I said, I'm going to get to see Jesus. Because I'm here with him. I have connected to him on a subconscious level. I'm going to go with him. I'm going to see Jesus. Well, the boat got closer and closer and closer to shore. And when the boat got close enough to shore that you could make the person out, it was his brother. His brother was the boat. And his brother explained to him why he was there. That he was there to take him on the journey. And he wanted to know where Christ was. And he said, Christ doesn't come. Helpers come. People come. Angels come. Christ doesn't come because the Christ Spirit is within you. So, Christ is already here. So the question is, I learned that. Christ doesn't come. Christ is already here. So, when I would sit with these people, I was just ask them, what are you thinking about? What do you want to do? And I had so many that would stay long enough just for family to be there. And they would tell me, said, I'm just staying long enough, Lou, so I can see my family, make sure they're okay before I make my crossing. And when the last family member walked in the room that they needed to see, they closed their eyes and left. But I've never seen anybody leave the room on their own, just leave. There was always somebody there. Whether it was family, a guide, master teacher, spiritual leader, it doesn't matter. There was somebody there. You don't leave the room all by yourself. There are people there with you. When they talk on the COVID right now with everybody passing the Spirit and people not being able to have people around them, there are people there. There are people there with them, working with them and helping them. But it's when you are so upset that you didn't want to go, you're so upset with the whole situation your whole life, then you are, I don't want to say stuck, but you're in a situation you're like, not quite all the way into the spirit world. I attributed a lot of being up on the street in New York City, and you walk down into the subway. You get on the platform. Now the platform will get you to the subway. It will get you into the bus. It will get you in the subway. But you can just stand there on the platform. not go anywhere. And some people get as far from the street level to the platform. And that's where they stay for years. They stay on that platform. They don't get on the subway because they're afraid that things have happened in their life and they don't listen. They don't listen to the guys that are speaking to them. You have 10 to 15 guys that follow you throughout your life. Those guides are your protectors, your instructors, your uplifters. They are your scouts. They are everyone you need to propel you. And if we keep looking down and we don't see them, you won't move anywhere. Christopher Timms had a long thing one time, years and years ago, when he said that you are the judge, jury, executioner. Most people will get on the other side and they'll put their head down in the defense table. They won't look at the judge. They won't look at the jury. They won't look at the defense. They won't look at the attorneys. They'll just keep their head down. It's only when they look up, they notice that the judge is them, the jury is them, the district attorney is them. It is them judging them. And that's what Spiritualism helps you with. That vibration of connecting to the story. Now, you might hear the story of the Fox sisters, and the Fox sisters recanted, speaking to spirit. But I think at that point, the sisters got so much into this religion, and they had people working with them, and they were drinking, and different things were going on. So I just feel like a lot of it was just because there was a lot of pressure to say this wasn't happening. But over the years since Spiritualism, some of the years in Spiritualism, there have been major events that have happened that people can't explain. They can't explain why people knew that, how that person connected to that person, how they knew that. They can't explain it. They can try to move it away, but they can't explain it. Now, you can't explain that little girl jumping out of the ceiling, walking down through all those people and coming to talk to me. I have spirit talk to me every day. There's spirit in this office now. So there's spirit always with people. There's always people, spirit around people, connected to people. You have to realize that you have your guides. And they are through meditation, meditational walks, doing meditation, getting quiet, addressing your dreams. You get to meet them. You get to have a conversation with them. And they are the ones that listen to your subconscious thoughts. If you believe that you need it and you deserve it and you really should have it, your guides will work on it. They'll put it in motion. And if it's not a life lesson for you, or a life lesson for something, a event up the road that you have to be where you are, you'll get exactly what you're looking for. So be able to ask, be able to feel confident within your life to ask. I'm not going to tell you that this religion is the most easiest religion in the world. It's not. Because we, as spiritualists, have no one to blame. Can't blame it on the devil, because we don't believe in the devil. Can't blame it on everybody else, because everybody's on their journey. All we can do is blame us. Adjust our vibration, adjust our view. We can't blame people if they're on their journey. All we can do is change our outlook of the journey. So, if you're on a journey in your life and it's not quite working for you, not quite where you feel like you should be, then ask your guides for change. But be ready to change. Be ready to re-envision something different. Don't just sit and go, I am going to do this. Because once you tell your guides you're going to do it, your guides will bring it. They will do their best to bring what you need to make the journey. If you don't accept what they bring you, then it might be a little bit for them to readjust in your vibration again because you didn't take what they brought the first time. That still has the same connection to clairvoyance, clairsentient, clairaudience, all the clairs within mediumship. You might be clairsentient, but you don't want to be clairsentient. You want to be clairvoyant. And you spend years trying to be clairvoyant, but you're not clairvoyant. You're clairsentient. You have to work with the gift you have. And then eventually your guides will give you more gifts. But you have to work with what you have. All of us are born differently. We're born with different modalities, different avenues in our lives. We're in different life lessons, different life purposes, different things in our lives to get us to where we need to be. We just have to try to work within those means, but to attract into our life what is best for us. That's what you ask your guides, highest and best, nothing else, highest and best. We ask for our highest and best, we're going to get that. We're going to get our highest and best as long as we're looking. But the major thing with spiritualism is to lift your head up. Look at what's going on around you. Keep track of things that are repetitious within your life. Allow yourself to question your guides, especially if they bring you something that you don't like. Explain to them that you don't like it. You don't like it. I have people that say, well, Spirit wakes me up, Spirit does this, Spirit does that, Spirit does that. I said, have you told them you don't like it? Oh, no, but they're Spirit, you know. No, tell them you don't like it. If you don't have enough money in your life, tell your guides, you know, guides, this isn't working. You need to propel the money, the prosperity with my life, and give them a figure to work on. Or there are people in your life that are just acting stupid. Doesn't mean you have to shop at the same part of the store. Go into another aisle. Go somewhere else in the store for a while. Allow yourself to take a breath. Look up. Figure out where your guides are trying to lead you. That's just a question with Spiritualism. Spiritualism allows you to be you. That's it. It's the religion of you. We don't try to force you into a mold and just try to make you in that mold. We don't. We don't say you have to believe this way. My father used to do that a lot. He'd turn to different pages in the Bible and he'd go, that. And I'd turn to a page in the Bible and say, what about that? And he'd go, we don't read that part of the Bible. Really? So, the Bible is an extremely powerful history book. A journey book, I call it. Because the journey the Bible takes you on is a different journey than everyone else. Because what you read in the Bible has a meaning to you. It might not have a meaning to someone else, but it has that meaning to you. And you read the same passage as somebody else's reads, and you get something totally different from it. Same thing with symbols, signs from Spirit, signs from the higher self. You could see something that somebody else goes, oh, that means that. And you're going, doesn't mean that to me. It means this. You have to allow yourself to set your vibration. Look up. Wander forth. Get yourself to where you need to be. Treat yourself with a lot of respect. Because Spirit respects you. Spirit loves you. Spirit wants to take care of you. Remember, you said that walk you take every day, you go out to your car, get in your car, you drive to work, you get home, you walk to the house, you do this, you do that. But remember, hundreds and thousands of times you have made a walk. You've made a walk. And you might be treading ground that you've tread before. You've walked before. You've been there before. You've walked this direction before. And if we are walking in the same footsteps, the same path, then we should look up and see what our guides are trying to show us, because there's a reason why we're there. And in Spiritualism, I was put in this religion. I could have gone in any other religion, but this is one that fits me. I could have changed and moved in a whole different direction in my life. But it didn't quite fit the vibration. So don't judge yourself, because if you don't take the right journey, the right vibration, the right journey that everybody else thinks that you should take, maybe you're one of the scouts. Maybe you're on a journey on your own. Maybe you got tired of people from a past life. You don't want anybody in your life this lifetime. You just want to be left alone. Maybe you're on the journey for you. And just remember that. Spiritualism, it takes you on your own personal journey, but you take all your luggage with you. That's why through your life you downsize, you move, and you get rid of luggage throughout your life. But if you want to be part of spiritualism, remember, you're not going to be totally just a spiritualist. Other parts of this has to fit here. Because there's no way that I will give up my father's religion. There are parts of it I liked. Parts of it that connected to me. Some of it didn't, but some of it did. So I've got that stored back there on one of the shelves. I've got it there. Might not be what this religion preaches, but it's something that I really like. And I'm going to keep it there. Same thing as you. You might be Roman, you might be Catholic, and you like the ordinance of Catholicism. My grandmother used to take me to Catholic church, and we used to do the water and the holy water and the prompts and the singing and the going through and the wafers and taking communion and all this stuff. I felt that. So there was this part of me. So things that you felt through your life, don't say, oh, Louis, I got to join this thing and I've got to get rid of it. No, you're not going to get rid of it. You might put a cloth over it. You might put it on the top shelf, but it ain't going anywhere. It's still there. It's still part of you. It's still part of your being. So listen to yourself, especially for the weeks to come from now. I know we're going through the election. We're going through a lot of stuff here in this country. But follow your journey. Look up every once in a while. Make sure you're still walking on the path. Make sure you put your shoes on. Make sure you're walking in the right path. Take a look around. Figure out your journey. You might be that scout that changes other people's journey. Or you might be that person that's in the crowd handing out refreshments, making sure everybody's okay so they can make the journey. So you never know where you are on your path. Look up every once in a while. Charge your energy. Know more about spiritualism, just research spiritualism. But know that spiritualism is just one religion out of thousands. It's just one. You could be, I tell people, I tell people I'm a little bit of Christian, a little bit of Pentecostal. I'm a little Catholic, but I'm a whole lot of spirit. I've got other religions in me. They're there on the shelf. And I can pull from them when I need to. But realize that you're never quite just one religion. You're a conglomerate of all the religions that have ever been shown or taught to you. Because you pick pieces from them, placed them on the shelf. So I hope you enjoyed that today. Remember, next week I think next week we do Lucerne. I'm going to let Lucerne speak and work through me next week. Remember the cruise coming up. And next year, if you want to go on a cruise, we'll be out of the pandemic by then. You can pay for the cruise. They start paying for it now over time. By next February, you're on board ship with me. It should be an awesome psychic cruise, and just tell them I sent you. You get a private event with me. So sign up for that. It's going to be an awesome cruise. A lot of events, a lot of really good speakers, a lot of really good workshops. So that'll be awesome. So come out for that. And then check my website, because I have a lot more events coming up here if you're in town or you're around where I'm going. You can stop by and see me. All right. I want to thank you guys for tuning in today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you.
Thank you, Louis.
You're welcome. Wasn't that many today? I guess not too many people wanted to hear about spiritualism, huh?